Okay, it's early morning Saturday, and this morning I get to go into work and put a water pump on this beast. It's been leaking the last little bit, and it's getting really bad. I'm gonna have to do something about it. And you can see I lost all my coolant. I'll have to put some more in there before I go. There's it right there. I can't see any in there. Okay, and my overflow is empty. So, just scare up some antifreeze first before we go. Okay, first thing we're going to do with this is remove the rad shroud. And I'm not going to show you removing it, I'm just going to spare you the details. 7 bolts, 2 down here, 2 over there, and 3 across the top. And since I'm lazy, and I never open the drain plug on any radiators, because sometimes, well, I shouldn't say never, I do it sometimes, but you might cause more trouble than it's worth. Get one of these things from many Lowe's or Home Depot. It's just a tray. It goes under a washing machine. It's perfect. You don't have to do, I'll show you in a minute after. You don't have to do the drain plug. It sits under there. It'll catch everything when you took the water pump off. Just better than messing with the drain plug, because sometimes you mess with drain plugs and then you can't get them closed or they break. It's causing lots of trouble. Okay, your next step before you remove the serpentine belt is to loosen your water pump fan bolts before you even take the serpentine belt off. Because if you do take that off before, you'll never hold that pulley to get the nuts off. So take those off. Okay, here's a little tip for you I'd like to do here, product placement. Before you get too far into taking your water pump off, take your gaskets and glue them on to the water pump itself, or the water pump. Some people like to do it the other way on the block, but if you do this ahead of time, we use 3M weather strip adhesive. It works the best, and glue them on first. You won't have the trouble putting the pump on. It'll be just like slapping it on, done. So do that to both of them. Okay, now that you have your water pump bolts, pulley bolts loosened or almost all the way out, take your serpentine belt off. Now with your serpentine belt off, now's the time to check for cracks or damage, because now's the time to replace it if you already have it off. This one doesn't look too bad. So go ahead and remove the water pump pulley off of there. Now if you happen to take your serpentine belt off first, you can always jam a screwdriver in the bolts like this, and then use, I'm trying to do this one-handed, use a wrench on the other side, you go like that to loosen it off, to break it free, because they're buggers sometimes. Now I've already removed the fan. Just remove, some of your studs will come out, some won't. I like it when they come out, but take the pulley off. And now undo your bottom rad hose. Okay, now that you got the belt off, now I was going to mention, now's a good time to check your idler bearings and stuff for, you hear that AC bearing's not very good. Give it a spin. And then your idlers, that one's no good. and your tensioner. That one's actually loose. Yeah, so I got 3 here that should be replaced. They probably never have. It's got 400,000 on it, especially that AC one. You can obviously hear that. That's no good, and that one's no good. So with your bottom hose clamp off, take your screwdriver and kind of pick around it, but be careful not to puncture the hose. And now's a good time to check your hose to make sure you got no soft spots in it. So take your hand and check it, because now it's time to replace it if you have it off. And the same with the top one, you can actually feel soft spots in it. So take your bottom rat hose off. And then that's why I got the pan under here. Just let it go in the bottom drain. And it's a lot faster than taking the drain cog out. Spigot, whatever you want to call it. Work your way around it. And try not to rip it if you can help it. Let her go. Okay, now that that's all gone down the drain, take your 4 water pump bolts out of there. There's one here, one up here, one here, and one here. Now you don't really have to take this pulley off or this one off to get it out, but personal preference, whatever you want to do. I say the less the better. Now you don't have to buy new bearings when you do these. There's I'm going to make another video and I'll show it. There's bearing inserts. You can use the pulley and just put new bearings in it. Okay, now take those 4 bolts out. There you go. She's off. So I can pull it out there with one hand. Now you always sit the old water pump up against the new one to compare neck heights and just to confirm that it is the right one. So you sit it on a flat surface like that and look at your neck height. That looks pretty good there. The only this new one has, and it won't interfere with this one, it has the heater hose bypass tube right there, and the old one didn't have it, but that's alright. You can see where the old one was pissing antifreeze out of that hole right there. Now your next step is to get that dried up gasket off the block. So you can either take one of these, any type of scraper, and scrape the block like that. It's time consuming. Or you can take one of these angle cookie grinders with an abrasive pad. Don't use the sandpaper type on this, but you can get in there sometimes like that. It's a bit tricky without taking everything off, and clean her up. Now before reassembling the water pump, go clean all your bolt threads up on the wire brush on a grinder. That way you don't have any dirt to hinder the torque that you're going to put on it. Clean them up. After you got them cleaned up, quickly inspect the threads and look for any broken or stretch marks in here, and check and see if the head of the bolt is in good condition. If it's not, any of those things are wrong with it, just throw it out and get new ones. You save yourself a lot of trouble. You go to put that back in, and if they got one of the threads that are stretched, you could break it off inside the block, and then you're in a big world of hurt. Try to get that out. Now, just for reassembly, you got your gaskets glued on. I'd like to add a little bit of high temp silicone to the, well, you don't have to be high temp here, but to the back side of the gasket, just to get a good positive seal. You don't have to do it as long as you have everything clean, but if there's any pit marks in there, it just helps to seal it a little bit better. Now, I'm not going to be able to show you how to do this, no tripod, but I've kind of stuck a bolt in the corner and my air ratchet's ready. So what I'm going to do here, with one hand, hold the water pump up to the holes like that, and then get the air ratchet, tighten it up. Maybe I can, damn, I wish you guys could see this. Let's try this. Make sure it's on, not off. Doesn't work too good. Your air ratchet, that is. Now don't tighten it right up right away. Just get the bolt started so you can get the other ones in place. Just like that. Now don't tighten them right up till you get all 4 in. Then tighten them down. Now at this point I'm going to inspect my bottom rad hose a little bit closer, because we did pry on it with a screwdriver. You want to make sure there's no cracks. Now this one's not the greatest looking, but it's not real soft. If I had the money, I would probably just replace that too, because top one's already been done. So anyway, reinstall that now that it looks good, and put the hose clamp back on.